Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Project Return online classroom. This is Miss Madison, and today we are doing these little pressed flower picture frames. Now, it was my birthday a little bit ago, and I had these flowers. They're kind of at their end of their life, so I wanted to find a reason to reuse them. So you're gonna need some sort of flowers. You can also go outside and just do it with any sort of leaves, anything you can find outside. You need a heavy book, you'll need parchment paper, even coffee filters can help just for ironing out and flattening them at first. You're also going to need wax paper, some tape, some scissors would probably be nice, and also an iron. For cutting out these flowers, I really tried to keep them as flat as possible. The yellow ones I know are going to give me a little bit of a trouble because they are sticking up a little bit further. So the flatter the leaves and the flowers you're using, the better it'll turn out. Now, what I have here is my parchment paper. My parchment paper is what I'm going to use to iron out and dry the flowers out first before we put it in the wax paper. Our wax paper is going to be the final one we use. The parchment paper does not have to be cut to a certain size, but I did cut mine to use as a template because I do want my wax paper to be 5x7 to fit in a picture frame later. And I was also kind of just messing around and planning it out before I iron them, but it doesn't really matter for your parchment paper what you need to use. The heavy book is used to lay on top and flatten them out. Really use the weight of your hands to press it down for a little bit before I lifted it up and started ironing it. And make sure your iron is on a low setting, not on a setting that is including any steam or any water, because we are trying to dry out the flowers. And take your time pressing them down. For time's sake of the video, I'm jumping through, but for both, we're using the parchment paper to dry them out, and we're trying to finally seal them to our wax paper at the end. It really does take a little bit of time, probably about 30 minutes or so it took me to slowly kind of press them in and making sure that they were sealing it properly. I also used my parchment paper as a template for my wax paper, and now I'm laying them all out in the design that I want. And this is the really fun part where you can just play around and see what colors you want to pop out first. And in a very similar fashion, we are making sure we're keeping our flowers in place and lightly pressing down with our iron and being very careful of our fingers. Please be mindful, even if it is on a low setting, we want to be careful to not get it too close to our fingers. I would suggest holding your iron down maybe a little bit longer than what I'm doing here. Because those flowers fell out like you see me rearranging them, I'm turning mine over back and forth to make sure I'm getting both sides nice and warm. But because I have my flowers that are sticking up a little bit further, it is causing a little bit of issues of me getting some of my flatter ones to flatten down. I knew this was going to happen, but I really wanted to try and get those yellow ones in there because I knew the underside would start to look like a sunflower, and I really wanted to include it. So just keep that in mind, that's why I'm doing it. But once I have it mainly flattened down so where I can at least flip it back and forth, feeling like they weren't going to fall out, I then tape the edges. Now taping the edges is when you can start to get a little bit creative, because now we're starting to do our finishing touches. I just have regular drafting tape. If all you have is tape, you can do just putting down one strip on each side, flipping it over and doing the same exact thing, and then cutting off any excess. If you have any Sharpies, markers, stickers, you can decorate it as your own frame, and you'll see in the end how you can hang it up on your window and it kind of be like a sun catcher sort of look to it. I knew I had an old picture frame in my closet, and I knew that's what I wanted to put this in, so I wasn't the cleanest with my tape. I did experiment a little bit with putting Sharpie over it, and I liked how it turned out, but I kind of liked how putting it in my blue frame, like how you saw in the beginning, was going to look anyways. So once I have the tape all on there, I just gave it a few more presses on each side with my iron to really seal it in, and then you're done. You can tape it to your window so it kind of gives you that sun catcher look like I said, or you can put it in a frame without the backing in it, and that gives it that same sort of look but also cleans it up a little bit. You can also put that same backing in it if you do want to put it on a windowsill or on a nightstand, and you can have brown against it. You can put a piece of paper in it. You can do a lot of different things with this to make it that it fits in your style and in your house. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I will see you again for the next one.